very special edition. How you guys doing? This is called a blackout edition. When the windstorms are that crazy and we don't have light. So, blackout edition. So please like, subscribe, and do all that stuff that YouTube people say because you feel bad for us. Yeah, we're chilling in a blackout right now, but here is what the trees are looking like. So we really do have a windstorm.
To the south. If that's an area you live in, you need to evacuate now. Mandatory.
Oh shit. Uh-oh. Dude, the whole mountainside is on fire over there. Oh my god. And yeah, the peak of the winds are actually blowing right now. I don't know if you can hear me. And there's the Eaton Fire just blowing back over here. It is officially, actually I don't even know what time. It's almost 4 in the morning. And we've officially been told we have to evacuate. Winds are hella bright right now, so we are getting up out of here. And I mean, all we could really ask right now is God to look after our house and pray for everybody that's helping get this under control. But look at this, man. Yeah, for real, it's like
oh shit, all the way right here.
oh man. Shit.
Oh, fuck.
The fires are all the way over here. Yeah. Still, but this is King's picture.
Should we park right here?
Damn, man. So this is where I shot my last video yesterday. My grandma's lemon tree. Man, I can't believe it. Are we in the car? What's sippin', homies? Welcome to the second episode of the Love, Peace, and Bacon Grease podcast. I had to save this to be the second one. 1 year later, after the Eaton Fires. Man, it's so hard to just even think about it. And what do we really say, you know? It's been a crazy year, to say the very least. You know, 1 year ago, we got that notice, we had to leave. And never once did we ever think that not only just our home, but the community itself would have taken the hit that it took. It's insane to think that 1 year ago, we had all these aspirations for what 2025 would have been, and it turned out just becoming a year of just rebuilding not only our home, but just our lives, just in general. You know what I'm saying? And I think although the land itself right here has not started to rebuild, which we will soon, the permits have officially been approved, and we're just getting ready to get started. But just our lives, where do we go from there? So I'm at the location that is just pretty much just the safest place that I've ever known in my life. The location of my home. And I don't think you understand just the feeling I get just by sitting here on this concrete block, which just by looking at it, looks like nothing was, ever happened in this area in general. But looking ahead beyond the camera, I just see a vacant lot. It's crazy. We have grass now, but we've never really had grass before because one, it never rained, and two, for whatever reason, grass just sucked over here on our land. But behind me, as you can see, the beautiful mountains, which I miss so much, just waking up in the morning, looking out the window and just seeing them. And when we've had those crazy storms in the past and you would see just snow on the mountains, it was just the greatest feeling. And a lot of that stuff I took for granted. And I think more than the takeaway, more than anything that happened in 2025, I think the takeaway was just don't take things for granted. Don't take people for granted. Don't take anything at all for granted. Because just like I took for granted just sitting here, for granted, it's something that I am just holding on to right now. Because as we start to rebuild, I don't guarantee if this part itself will remain here. It may not. So this very well could just be some of the last couple days that I will be actually sitting on something that I grew up with. I learned to play basketball on here. We've had numerous parties over here of all sorts of stuff, man. Um, Squish grew up over here in this area right here. You have videos of Squish messing with Milo, forgetting that the whole property was covered in cameras. So it would crack me up when I'd be at work or she'd have a day off and I'd look at what's going on in the backyard and I'd see her messing with Milo too. Just in general, it's just little memories that, although the fires took away the physical land, took away our physical belongings, it took a lot. It could never just take away the memories that we had up here in general. And as I'm looking around, I don't know how much of it you could hear. You hear trucks going by, you hear power tools going, you hear banging, you hear just a bunch of different sounds of progress. Because the city is probably one of the most resilient cities in the world. And everybody says that. I get that. Everyone says we're resilient, but the way the community came together post Eaton Fire was just insanely just mind-blowing. It made me cry. It made me smile. It gave me emotions that I shouldn't have really felt like should have had, I should say, during these times. Because just knowing that when we said we were LA strong, we meant it. We had people giving out haircuts. We had people giving out free food. We had water, clothes, shoes. Everything was given out. Organizations went above and beyond. One of my favorite places that's right down the block is Fair Oaks Burger. It's been a place I've been going to for years. For years. When I was just a young little pup living right here, I would have my $7 and I'd walk on down to Fair Oaks Burger, grab me a combo, grab my combo, walk across the street, hit the liquor store, and with that last $2.50, I'd buy me a soda and I'd go ahead and buy me some of those Sour Patch belts, thingamajigs from there as well. It's all of this stuff that just stayed in my mind, and to know that Fair Oaks Burger is still there is just, man, gives me something to look forward to when I get back over here. But a lot of stuff, just thinking about it, you sit and your mind automatically transports you to what used to be, what life was like prior to Squish, prior to Amy, prior to Park and Sip, prior to all of what my life is now. I'll probably take the camera around a little bit, do some B-roll after the fact, but you'll see there's markings that's on this concrete itself. When we first built this was all dirt, actually. This was just the gnarliest dirt. And I've told stories before, and we talked about just the way things were. And this being dirt, when we finally put concrete, well, not me, my folks, made this in the concrete right here, I was super amped because we used to have a basketball court right there. And all that's left right now was just the hole of where the basketball court used to stand. And I remember not too long after we had got this whole thing concreted up, I found white spray paint in the garage and I spray painted lines. I was like, that's fresh. I got a fresh cement backyard. I got lines. Man, I'm going to be the talk of the town. And sure enough, we had friends that came over during the summer times, during the weekends, and we'd be loked up right here. I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'5" on a good day. And so imagine how much smaller I was in like 3rd grade, 4th grade, or whenever it is that we did this. And man, we would be behind those 3-point lines, step back, Jordan, whoop, be hooping back here. Up, let's go, whoop, shooting them, But to my parents, very, very much dislike. They're like, why did you paint the freshly done concrete? Well, you know what? But they stayed. They never faded. That must have been some gnarly, gnarly, gnarly ass spray paint. But it survived. It survived, And even more so, you've heard me tell stories from even growing up back in the days of my grandma. This was the area my grandma would do hand washing her clothes. And I always thought, even at a very young age, man, you definitely must be a woman of belief, because right here, and it literally was only just, I think, about like as big as my hand, as wide as my hand is, what was actually concrete, and the rest was just dirt. But you're sitting here washing white clothes on a slab about this thick, and you are hand washing white clothes. She had a clothesline behind us, and she would sit there and hang them up and just air dry white clothes with powdered dirt. I was like, you're a brave woman, Grandma. You're a brave, brave woman. But not so much brave as, I don't know. Just take caution when you have two kids that are running around. My cousin and I accidentally knocked over the bucket of water that had the white clothes in it, and the white clothes went into the dirt. And man, when she saw that, man, she took up on us, pulled up, more thug than any gangster I know down the block. And right over in the area right behind here, we used to have a fig tree. Man, we ran up that fig tree like you would not believe. And she threatened us in whatever language she was speaking to us and cussing us out in. Said, when you come back down, you're going to feel it. Honestly, I don't remember if she ever got us or not. If I don't remember, there's a good chance she did. And I simply just don't remember it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, the memories of that, of just childhood, one of the worst injuries, and it wasn't even the worst. It was just painful and ass kicking. But I would rollerblade up in this area, and I used to practice rollerblading. And, I was like, this rollerblading thing ain't that hard. Could jump off, jump down here on the concrete area. And, man, I went, jumped, slipped, straight on my back. Just leave me here. It's all right. Leave me here. 3 hours later, I finally picked my big ass up, and away I went. So, I'm just thinking about all of this, and it just comes all flooding back into my memory just by sitting here on these steps. And oftentimes, Amy and myself, after a hard day of work, would legitimately just come back here, crack open our favorite cold beverage, and just sit here and talk. Our bedroom was actually located right where the camera is at right now. In fact, that's where our bed would have been, right where the camera's at, And for me, and then of course, hello, little B, I just start thinking about it. Because this was our life, and I don't say we took it for granted, but you don't fully understand what you miss until it's fully gone, The year in itself, again, right after the fires, I can't give, more love to Jenny and Eric for, not only letting us in to stay with them for, a couple days, about a week. I don't know. I have no sense of timeline. But, for braving it up, to driving back up here, to confirm that, to confirm and pray that what we saw in the news wasn't accurate. But we drove through. We're from Dina. We found back ways to come up even when they weren't allowing people to come back up. I would say probably maybe less than 6 hours after the house officially went down. But we made it back up here, and that's the footage you saw, with some of our actually the first vlog that came from it. And, it's something that I would never wish on anybody. I'm just thinking about just what I saw, what I smelled, what I felt, like all of that. And they braved that one out with us for sure, because I'm sure just as much as is embedded in my mind, it probably has not left their mind in itself. And I can't thank them enough for just going through that with us too. And, I also want to give a shout out to, my cousin D. You guys know who he is. Big part of my life as well. But we left a suitcase behind. It was total blackout. As I was trying to turn off the lights, we had them connected to power banks. So as I was unplugging them out of the power banks, it got dark in the house. And because it was a black suitcase, we left the suitcase behind. So we tried to come up at 7 a.m. And at that point, we already saw Altadena just completely engulfed in flames. And again, unless you've experienced that, it's definitely something that you could say your shoulda, woulda, couldas all the time. Oh, I would have went ahead and I would have done this. Or if that was me, I would have packed this. Oh, if I was me, oh my goodness, you did it wrong. Oh my God. Man, unless you have lived through it, you're not allowed to talk about it. Unless you've seen what we've seen, don't even begin to try to put yourself in our shoes. Because believe me, that smell in itself of what we smelled that morning when we came back is something that I hope to never have replicated in my nose ever again. Ever, ever, ever again. But life after the fire, essentially, we stayed at my cousin's. We stayed in the Airbnb for about a month. And I wouldn't say it was terrible. I wouldn't say it was luxurious. I would just say it was different, you know? And we had a lot of stuff going on. We had a lot of stuff trying to figure out life because it felt like obviously everything was already burned. We're trying to figure out what the next steps are. But then it felt like we were on a time crunch because in all honesty, the insurance only gave us a certain amount of time where they will cover our housing. And we were pretty much on the clock the minute we found a spot, which means not only did we have to make sure that our housing was in place and we would be able to afford it for the duration the home was being built, but the minute we moved into that spot, we were on the clock, whether the house was done or not, you know? So if the house was not done by time our allocated funds for rent was up, then all that money that we would have to pay for the rebuild would now have to go toward paying for our rent. And rent in California is not cheap. Utilities in California is not cheap. And trying to think about, you know, having to do rent, what we're paying right now, because it is myself, it is Amy, Squish, and my folks, not cheap, you know, to have 5 people in a home, you know. So, you know, we found an Airbnb, we were there for a month, and then after that, we're like, what's next, you know? And I know a lot of people opened up their doors to us, but it was a tall ask. We didn't want to inconvenience everybody because it is 5 of us and a Milo, 5-pound Yorkie, you know, but he yaps a lot, so that is a lot to overtake too, you know. But you know, shout out to my sister and brother-in-law, Jenny and Dave, who, you know, were making a room to make it work for all of us to go over there, you know. And then we were blessed enough to get hotel vouchers. So we were in a hotel for a month. And then we moved in to our rental home, as you've seen in live streams and whatever. And that's where we'll be at until this rebuild happens, you know. So it was definitely some times that we thought about it. A lot of uncertainties to what life was going to be going forward. And, you know, as cliche as it sounds, I'm not a very religious man whatsoever, as you know, my friends know too, but I really put it in his hands, you know. I do like what Vinny from Jersey Shore put across his chest. I let go and let God, man, you know. And, you know, the love and support that we got from the YouTube community was just insane, you know. And I definitely got to give it up to my homeboy Jay, Jaycation, his family, Paula as well, because without us knowing, they were in the background setting up a GoFundMe for us too, which I never even thought about, you know what I'm saying? And that GoFundMe went, I know that's the other question. Well, you know, we got a lot of crap, you know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, they saw us at Knott's Berry Farm, and then we were out with Squish doing something, and then the comments in there is like, oh, so that's what you use the money for, to go to theme parks? Stupid. We've had money for theme parks. We've had those passes for theme parks for as long as I could remember, you know. And if you would check out the rest of the content, like and subscribe, see what I did there, you would have seen that theme parks are a big part of our lives, you know. So they assumed that with the GoFundMe funds that we got, that we went and we spent it on theme parks, and you know, and it's the furthest from the truth, you know. That money went toward pretty much replacing almost everything we had, you know. And you know, on paper, or on the screen I should say, it's like, wow, you guys got that amount. But then if you think about everything, you know, everything from having to replace shoes to socks to drawers to pants to shirts to jackets, you know, to a pot, to a spoon, to a coffee maker, you know, to food for Milo, to medication I lost, you know, to everything. That money depletes quicker than you could blink. You know what I'm saying? So that really in itself right there got us kickstarted, because All the money that we pretty much have gotten back from the insurance, we want to put that toward the rebuilding of the home. So as the house rebuilds, now we're going to be daunted with the next task now. So how do we furnish the house when we get there? Because where we're at right now, it's like we got the couch, all right, cool, but it came with refrigerator. So, we're now having and it came with washer and dryer. So when we come back, we're going to have to do washer, we're going to have to dryer, we're going to have to, since we'll be splitting up over here as well, we're going to have to get more couches. We're going to have to get more space. Everything we're at right now in the rental right now is pretty much for the here and now. You know what I'm saying? We really don't want to buy much anymore because anything that we buy, we have to transport back over to where we're at this moment. The good thing that I'm super excited for is we have our table. If you've noticed the table that we've had where I've done live streams on back here as well, that survived. So I can't wait to put it back in its spot when we come here. And again, shout out to all my friends, Henry, Issa, D, Chilo, Jimbo. They replaced the same grill that I lost over here, and even more, shout out to them through the whole process that night of January 7th to the 8th. They were constantly on the phone with me as well from the minute, hey, we're going to be, we're blacked out now. We don't have no power to, hey, the winds have really picked up to, hey, we're on evacuation notice. We'll let you know, to I'm not having reception, so don't worry about it, we're good, to hey, once I had a little bit of reception, say I'm evacuating, to the devastating news to the house is gone, I think, to poor Henry having to see me sob like a newborn baby kid, but they were the sounding board, so I honestly can't thank them enough, more than anything, I know I give her a lot of crap because that's my job as a dad. I got to give the biggest love and just, hats off to you, girl, to Squish, man. Squish has showed a level of resilience that I've seen adults can't display half of what that is, not even a quarter of it, her eighth grade year, getting ready to graduate, the uncertainty of that. Her school still not reopened to this day, and I don't think it'll reopen. Had to move that school, went to another school, and then graduate from that school to starting high school. And, she has her days just like anybody else, but at the end of the day, she did it with grace, and she got through it, had 2 graduations. One was uncertain. The other one was from the school she was at, and yeah, she got through it, So at this point, baby girl, we tell her, you could do anything you want to. You know what? Sky's the limit at this thing. You've gone through not only a bump in the road, but a fucking boulder in the road. You had walls that were put up for you for all intents and purposes to break you down in 2025, and you overcame, and you're thriving now in high school. So, I gotta give much love, and more so just as much as to Amy as well. Good days, bad days. Amy I've always said that she's been the rock. I can't do half the fresh shit I do if it wasn't for Amy. And going back to everything that we've gone through the past year, the word warrior is like not even begins to describe how she got us through all of this. I didn't even think. I couldn't think. I was stuck in a state of numb. Even when we came back to this land, hours after it burned, I was just shocked. I shot a video, and when I rewatched it to do the vlog, it was like watching it for the first time because I didn't even feel it. I didn't sense it. I didn't feel anything. I don't even remember me being here, to be honest with you, And Amy had the foresight and just knowledge to be like, you know what? We got to take pictures. Took pictures of the land, took pictures of the curb, took pictures where it had our house number on here. And right when she went back and told my mom, call the insurance, let them know that this is a loss, they started saying, we got to get an adjuster out there and verify this loss. And here Amy came, man, with smooth ninja tactics. Here's all the pictures, every angle of the house, still on fire. Here's the address. Here's the before and after. And boom, case opened immediately. I wouldn't even be shocked if we were one of the first to put it in Altadena. because of Amy's smooth thinking. If there's anybody that you need on your side when the going gets tough, man, Amy's tough gets going, man. And she is a fucking rock star. So, much love to her too. And just all of you guys, thank you guys so very much. Because honestly, I don't think you guys understand what you guys mean to me. And it's very, very cliche. I'm a YouTuber, and that's why I say, oh, I love my community. And everybody says that. And at the end of the day, you go up to them and you talk to them, and they don't even know who you really are. You know what I'm saying? But I truly do thank you guys. And I love you, and I can't thank you guys enough from the bottom of my heart of everything you guys did over this past year to get us through, everything, though. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy year, although we have what we consider ourselves as normal and have gotten to that level of normalcy, unfortunately, it just still doesn't feel all there, And everyone looks, because social media is everything for a lot of people, and, they're thinking, are you advocating for Altadena? Are you part of this? Do you not care? It has nothing to do with that. Literally has nothing to do with that. We lost this community, a community that I've been a part of since most people who came into the community are rallying hard for. I know what this community is. I knew what this community was. I know what this community will be. I don't need to post on my IGs or YouTube of the fight that we have ahead of us. I don't need to be pointing fingers of who's to blame here. Because at the end of the day, no matter who's to blame, this land is still empty. This land is still burned. I still have a family that needs to eat, a family that still needs to thrive. It has nothing to do with just not caring. It's just a matter of me having to get through life, which I hope people do understand, But we've done my share of documentaries. I've never said no to an interview that's talking about the fire. And I really do hope if you're from Altadena and you've seen some of these interviews that I've done you guys proud. We were so blessed to be reached out to by, I believe they're called Arrow Media, who did In the Eye of the Storm on HBO Max and the Discovery Channel. And the one In the Eye of the Storm episode is called Escaping the LA Fires. And the footage that we use, I got to tell some of my story on there. And I wish some of the other stuff would be out there, but pretty much, they want to know what happened, and I get that. But honestly, like I remember when she had asked me during that interview, describe Altadena. And I literally remember looking at her as I'm looking through some of the other mountains that's in front of me. I was like, picture this. You got the hustle and bustle of the LA life. Even now, Pasadena has come down to that hustle and bustle of the LA life. People driving fast, people moving quick, the day-to-days. It's just days come, days go, days come, days go. And then you have Altadena, California, which is pretty much everybody's home, It's nice and quiet. And even if construction wasn't going on, this is pretty much what Altadena would sound like anyway. Quiet. People over here are loving. We could walk down to the liquor store down there. If we had Milo, the lady would give him a Slim Jim. I don't know if a Slim Jim is good for dogs, but nonetheless, it's things that you wouldn't get in another community. You know what I'm saying? So that was Altadena to us. It literally was that home community, that homey feeling, and the escape from the everyday chaos of LA life. And, I feel that, I felt that, and I feel that that's the way, hopefully, it will still be after the rebuild. So my reflection on my IG, I don't think everybody wants to be bored with me every day posting something about the fires, because that's just not my way of coping with it. My way of coping with it is telling my story wherever I can. We were just on the news. Much love to Brittany Hope from NBC. Did a killer interview, did an amazing piece talking about, life in general that featured myself and my parents. So me always talking about Altadena, me always featuring Altadena in our vlogs. Altadena will never die, at least not in my eyes, not to me, not to ever. So as we go through 2026, man, I couldn't be more optimistic about it, because I don't even want to ask what's the worst that could happen, because Lord, I do not want to know the answer to that. But as Amy pointed out the other day, it was kind of crazy because I had no idea, and maybe you guys did, but I don't really follow too much about like, oh, what the year of what of this or that is. But she's like, dude, year 2025 was year of the snake. I was like, go figure. Year of the snake, man. This is the year of the horse, man. So here's for all the luck and everything for everybody, you know, here in Altadena, here at Palisades. Um, it should be a better year. I'm optimistic it's going to be a better year, you know? So I think just as we grow, as we rebuild, um, it's just going to be cool to see the progress going forward now, you know? And hopefully by this time next year, this vlog will be encapsulating our new place, our new life, and the normalcy that we grown to know, love, and cherish that I did for almost 40 years up here in Altadena. But I can't thank you guys enough. Honestly, you guys are the absolute best. And I know I say it all the time, but damn, I mean it, dude. And more than anything, just looking around, man, to see the sights that you could see here from Altadena, to just, for once, smelling the air right now, and I'm sure there's probably toxins in it, but it smells like normal. It really does smell like normal, you know? And, you know, I'm gonna be so excited to take you guys along on this journey, you know? Send your good vibes, send your love, you know, as this next phase of our life starts, that we could do it with a smooth transition, you know? Shout out to Diego and his construction company who will be taking us to this next step. In other words, taking us on this next step, because you guys are going to be on that journey with me for sure. So, you know, lots of pop up throughout this year. And I'm excited for it. I am super excited for it, though. So again, you know, the GoFundMe's on the bottom of the page. So again, we'll put that on here again. Obviously, no obligations, but you know, at this point, it doesn't hurt to ask as we start this next part of the rebuild. And you know, obviously, who am I lying? Financial always plays a part in that, because you know, got to get paid if you need stuff, you know. So, but my friends, you guys have been more than generous to us and loving to us, and we can't thank you guys enough. So again, if this is the first time that you're here, my name is Bacon. Thank you so much for watching this Love, Peace, Bacon Grease podcast. First time you're checking us out, please like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. I love you, and I love you, Altadena.